Thank you, Sonia. Okay, aloha. It's so good to see each of you here. This weekend, I read a New Yorker article. It was about bibliotherapy. And I realized I would pay my therapist their rate for bibliotherapy. That sounded good to me. So, in that article, I learned something that you already know, probably, which is about the inscription labeling the Thebes Library as the healing place for the soul. I did not know that about the library sign, but I and my dear ones have always known that about libraries and librarians. You make that happen. So thank you all so much for bringing healing to our communities and to our souls. I'd like to start with an olelo no'eau given to me from a Native Hawaiian colleague who told me they share this with their students because it deals with work habits, mindset, and preparation. So mahalo to that colleague and also to Mary Kavena Pukui for this. I ha'aheo no ka lawai'a, I ka lako, I ka upena. The fisher is proud when well supplied with nets. In other words, good tools help the worker succeed. So at our session today, you'll be supplied with neuroscience-based tools that I've shared with thousands of people at workshops around the world, and I hope you find that they're just right for you for restoring balance, managing stress, and improving your sleep. So let's start with a practice. Is the sound okay? Okay, let's start with a practice. You're in the middle of a stressful situation and you need to ground and restore and activate parts of your brain to make better decisions rather than the brain structures that are activated by overwhelm. Because the reality is stress will come and go and it can often be present. So how do we cope in the middle of it? So as we start this practice, I want you to first check in with your body. Just notice sensations maybe in your neck or your chest, your shoulders, your jaw, your back. Just check in. We're going to do something called a physiological sigh. So which is just a deep inhale, a small inhale, and then a slow exhale. It looks like this. And so in the 1930s, science decided to label this the physiological sigh. And recently at Stanford and UCLA, researchers have been looking into this to reduce stress. So I'm going to guide you. So you're going to take a deep inhale through your nose. And if you cannot inhale through your nose, just inhale through your mouth. So we're going to inhale deep and then a shallow one in the nose, and then we're going to exhale. So let's do it together. And then now do it once more on your own, please. And then revisit those body sensations that you checked in with a little bit ago, and you'll notice some relaxation. So the last couple weeks, many of us have had a harder time turning off the news and social media. We may have been engaging more than usual in comfort-seeking behaviors. And so there's research on a pathway that can help put you at ease in these times. And it's part of it is noticing whether you're in a dopamine versus serotonin dominant state. But what is that? So first, dopamine. It's your molecule of more. It's also a molecule of feeling rewarded. Have you ever noticed something like maybe you're engaged in social media, you're watching TV, or you're eating or drinking, and it feels like you've had enough on one level, but on another level, you just want more. You know what I mean? Okay, that's dopamine. Now let's do serotonin. If you're comfortable standing, please stand up, but if not, this can easily be done seated. Okay, I want you to blow out all your air, and then a big in, deep breath, and then let go of your breath. Okay, and now what I want you to do is just stretch in whatever way is comfortable for you right now. Just a little bit of a stretch. And just notice how that feels in any way you'd like. Okay, and go ahead and take a seat again, please. And I'd like you to think about how it felt when I asked you to take your seat. You likely didn't have a grasping feeling of, no, I just want more. You know, even if it did feel like you wanted to stretch some more, it was likely more of like a pleasant awareness, but mostly the stretch felt comforting. And that's a serotonin dominant state. So imagine a beautiful sunset, petting your dog or cat, doing a relaxing stretch. While you're enjoying these, you typically aren't engaged in an internal dialogue about how you want more. This is more of just the content serotonin state. And the strategy, which is to restore balance even during stressful times by making more choices from a serotonin dominant state. So I have some brain hacks to get you there. So in general, throughout the day, you're going to be noticing when you're in that dopamine kind of feeling more hooked state, or when you're in the serotonin state, which is more of just that feeling of being content. And you'll develop a skill over time at being able to tell the difference. Then when you notice you're in that comfort craving more state, here's a practice that works so well. So let's start just a simple example. Let's just say you're eating chips, which on their own are lovely, but sometimes we can get carried away, right? And so you're enjoying them, and then you notice you're in that dopamine state where you feel like you've had enough, but you can't really stop. So here's a trick to tell yourself you can have more chips, but first you're going to do this little practice. And the brain likes this because you're not saying, I have to stop. You're saying, I am going to continue eating these chips, but I'm just doing this little thing first. So you close up the chip bag and you move away from the chips and you look out your window, or maybe something nice hanging on your wall, pet your dog, you can do a physiological sigh. It's that quick, but now you have to choose to go back to get the bag of chips, or open Instagram, or turn back on another episode of the show you're watching on TV. So it's enough of a hurdle. You've also disrupted that dopamine circuit. So you find it easier to not re-engage with the behavior. And you will have times when you re-engage in the behavior. So what then? Congratulate the wise part of yourself that noticed that you were hooked, and also for trying. Don't beat yourself up, because beating ourselves up activates neural circuits that make us engage in more comfort-seeking behaviors. It doesn't work. So instead, literally pat yourself on the back, squeeze your arms just for the attempt, and that neurofeedback loop of, I tried, that's progress, even while you're just like eating the more chips. It rewires your brain, and you'll be better at it the next time. And that practice takes as little as 30 seconds. But here's another practice I'm going to show you that can help in these instances. And this next practice is proven, lots of research on it, reduces stress and anxiety. It helps with overwhelm. It can even help you ease your pain, physical pain. And it's also powerful to help you sleep, or if you wake up in the middle of the night and you need to go back to sleep, it's a good practice. And as I mentioned sleep, I want to make sure you know that at the end, I'm going to leave you with a link to my zero-cost open resources Science of Sleep textbook. Also, I'm going to leave you with a sleep wellness handout that will guide you step by step through daytime, before bed, and during bed practices to improve your sleep. And then this way, during our time together, we'll focus on techniques and strategies to help you relax, recharge, and also they'll improve your sleep. Okay, so this is an evidence-based practice. It's called thought field therapy, and it's based on acupuncture meridians. You're going to be tapping these locations. So, and it doesn't matter if it's the left or the right side. So you're going to be tapping here, the outer edge of your eye, and then the width of your hand under your arm, right here, okay? Right there. And then your collarbone, where it ends right here, it's a couple fingers over. Oh, I got that mic there. Sorry, Mike. A couple fingers over from the end of your collarbone, and then a couple fingers down. So like, here's my collarbone where it ends, and you're down here. It's kind of tender right there. You're going to tap about 10 times. You're going to tap pretty hard, and we're going to do it together. So first, before we do it, notice right now just your level of stress on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst. So just get a number between 1 and 10. That feedback helps you with the skill. Okay, and then now we're going to do it together. So we're tapping by your outer eye, and we say I have a mnemonic up there for you. I, for by your eye. Tapping under your arm, am, under your arm, and then under your collarbone, I am calm. Let's do it one more time. So corner here, I am, and then calm. Okay. And you can use this, before we do anything. Now notice that level from 1 to 10, just your general level of stress, and you'll notice it's nice. And you can use this to switch to those from dopamine to serotonin circuits. It promotes a sense of ease and well-being. It'll also help you focus. And this is also excellent for anxiety, and it can help you to sleep. And if you do it regularly, it can quickly activate brain circuits. It's like taking an anxiety relief pill. I'd like to share an approach for bringing ease to situations for when we're not able to take any action. Maybe we're waiting for results, just that feeling, or we just aren't in a position to change a situation and we're overwhelmed by something troubling. What do we often do? We worry, and we create stories of what might happen. But why do we do that? And why is it so hard to stop? It turns out that your brain says, oh, you're worrying, you're creating stories. Well, at least you're doing something. And so then you end up getting a reward for doing that. And so what we want to do is stop making that a stronger habit. So next time you're worrying, perseverating, repeating a storyline, rehearsing what to say or maybe what somebody else said or what you said, notice you're doing it. That noting is going to help. And state to yourself, oh, I'm doing that thing, and it doesn't usually help me. And then you could do your I am calm tapping. You could do a physiological sigh. You can squeeze your arms just to get maybe hand in your cheek, just to get a little oxytocin going that's comforting. You're going to shift that brain circuit. And finally, you're going to make friends with the sensation. So for example, maybe it's fear. Notice how fear feels. Hello, fear. I see you. Bring it on. So I get to know you, because apparently you're coming with me whether I want you to or not. So I'm not going to fuel you. I'm not going to let you drive my behavior. I'm going to focus on the body sensations and soothe the body. Mostly with difficult thoughts, you can't change thoughts with thoughts, but you can change thoughts by changing signals in your body. It's very difficult to fix thinking with thinking. So we're going to change the body chemistry, which molecules are getting released. Also, the connections between the emotional and the reasoning parts of your brain, there's not a lot of connections there. So you cannot talk yourself out of worrying for the most part. It's like trying to tell a baby not to be upset, listing all the reasons why the baby shouldn't be upset. That's not going to work. You have to soothe the baby, with soothing tones and touch. So that will help you. And you can also use today's practices like tapping or breathing, and I'll show you more, to help in situations at work or at home when there's stress and overwhelm, and when you can't say no, you cannot say no, and you cannot get a break. But what about when we could say no to taking on more work? Have you ever, like that happens in your world? Yeah, so some people can say no easily, but how can we get better at saying no? So, because even the notion of it seemed absurd, right? So I'm going to share a story with you about a professional development opportunity that somebody shared with me. And when they told me, it looked so good. It was about revitalization of Indigenous culture. And that's one of my passions. And it's a big area of my work and of my art. But because I was juggling so much, I put my practices in place and I said no to the opportunity. And I was so proud of myself. So I bragged to my husband. I said, see, these techniques are so good. They're effective. I'm the boss of me. I said no. And then a couple days later, another colleague reached out to me and said, and this is somebody who I admire and respect, said, you really need to check into this. Have you heard about this? And I said, yes, I've heard about it. And they said, this is you. This is like your thing. You got to do this. And it's a year-long program, right? So since I'm so practiced at my techniques, I did what you think. I cried like a child. But I didn't know what to do because I was juggling so much. It sounded so good. So I really did what I knew I needed to do, which was to get myself some time. So I took some time and I gave myself permission to say no. I got to where I knew I'm going to say no to this in order to give myself the space to choose yes. And I did choose yes. And the thing was, I did the program. It was a year long. It was a while ago. And now I'm enrolled in another version of it, which is also a year long, deeper dive into the work. And it's helping me to learn how to teach students in a way that sustains their culture. And I have no regrets. It's nourishing to my spirit and my mind, and the students are benefiting. But I share it with you because even though I struggled in the moment, both moments, I did make the choice with awareness, and that felt good. So then, What is your process for saying yes or no? You folks are empathic, you're caring people. I've experienced that directly with many of you, that warm caring, and that makes it difficult for you to say no, right? So this next technique will help you to create more time each week with strategies that help you to prioritize your commitments and say no more often. So first of all, we agree we're fully booked, we're juggling too many balls. I just want to get a sip of water. So if somebody gives you a request, somebody wants to hand you another ball to juggle, you don't get better at juggling. You have to sit down one of the balls you're juggling if you're going to take on another one. You're maxed out. So saying yes to the new thing means saying no to something that you're currently doing. So you have to decide, though, what can I currently stop to start something else? So Greg McKeon, he's a Stanford grad. He's a business strategist, and he teaches about essentialism. And he says, essentialism is not about how to get more things done. It's about how to get the right things done. And he uses this closet metaphor, which I found helpful. So you're organizing your closet, yeah? And you're saying, I got to get rid of some of these clothes. And you're holding onto that shirt, and you're trying to decide, do I get rid of this shirt or not? Ask yourself, what would I give up? What would I spend in order to get this shirt if I didn't have it? And so you can use that, of course, for your closet in your house. It's helpful with unhealthy relationships and also work items. So if you're working on a project or you're on a committee and you notice, this one is a psychic drain for me, this one isn't feeling right, ask yourself, what if I were not on this project or committee? What would I give up in order to get on it? So it'll give you some clarity and help you to tell yourself or someone else that you have to give something up. And in Cherokee, we talk about living in tohi. It's in balance and harmoniously with each other and on the earth. But how can we create that balance when we're overloaded or pushed just way off center? One way is to have a strategic approach to saying no. And here's one way to build the skill of saying no. The next time someone asks you to do something, try something like this. I truly want to help you, but I don't know if I can. So I'll think hard about it to figure out if there's any way I can help you. And then I'll let you know by noon tomorrow. So now that person feels the connection with you, which is what so much, we want that. We feel the connection. They also feel that you care. And it gives you the time and distance to get comfortable saying no. And I encourage you to get to that no place. Even if you work your way to yes, it's so much more liberating to say yes after you've gotten comfortable with the no. Also, you may find that you can do a small part of what they want now that you've had time to think about it. So when you call back, you can say, I want to help you, so I figured out a way I can do part of what you asked. Or maybe you do say, I really gave it some thought because I wanted to help, but I'm not able to this time. And at least they know you cared enough to try. So let's do another evidence-based, well-researched practice. This activates brain regions to help you make better choices aligned with your goals. It reduces stress, and this one can also help you with your sleep. So before we get specific, it's a breathing technique. I want to find out how you're breathing right now. So I want you to put a hand, if it's comfortable for you, a hand on your chest and a hand on your tummy, and then look down at your hands, blow out all your air, and when you inhale, notice which hand moves out. And then exhale and relax, and you can put your hands down. Okay, so what I saw a lot of, which is normal because we're all dealing with a lot, especially you folks, you wonderful librarians. So a lot of what I see is the tight belly, right? We're sucking it in, tight belly, and then I see this, and that's chest breathing. And when we breathe from our chest, which like I said, it's very normal, when we breathe from our chest, it sends a signal to the brain that says, oh, we're in danger. Tighten the belly, breathing through here. So then the brain tightens up the neck, brings up the shoulders. You might notice you get headaches or tension in your neck or through here. And so what we want to do, unless you're exercising, I'd like you to try to breathe where you inhale, your belly should go out. Big, soft, puppy belly. Even if you're all six-pack abs, that belly is nice and big and soft. So what I want you to do, don't think about your breathing right now, but if it's comfortable for you, put your hand on your belly and just push your muscles out and try to expand the belly. And then bring it back in. It's kind of hard to even do that. Sometimes when I'm working with patients, I have to have them lie on their back and put a book, just to try to lift it up, to try to get that feeling. So now what I want you to do, blow out your air. And when you inhale, push your belly out. Okay, good. Now we're going to get specific with a rhythm. So it's 4-7-8 breathing. And we're going to do this 3 times. We're going to count to 4, inhale. If you can inhale through your nose, that's helpful, but if it's your mouth, that's fine. We're going to hold for 7, and then we're going to exhale for 8. Remember, puppy belly, the belly goes out when the breath goes in, okay? So I'm going to guide you through it. We're going to do it 3 times together, okay? So blow out all your air. Okay, inhale, count of 4. Pushing that belly out, now hold. Okay, exhale slowly through your mouth, bringing that belly back in. Okay, another inhale, push your belly out, hold. Good, exhale. Okay, one more, inhale, push that belly out. Good, hold the belly out while we're holding. Excellent. And now exhale. It feels lovely, right? You can feel it in the whole room. I love it. Okay, mahalo for spending your precious time with me. And here are some resources to help you. In the middle is my website. I don't sell anything on the website. It just has one of my radio interviews with NPR. It has some other handouts. And then over here, The Science of Sleep. That's the Open Educational Resources textbook. It's free to anyone. Anything you can imagine about sleep, OER. Anything you can imagine about sleep, how to improve sleep, dreams, animals and sleep, even social justice and how you can make an impact in our community helping others with their sleep. And then there's a sleep wellness handout. And that sleep wellness handout also has a link to a sleep diary. And these are all open access content. So mahalo, and I wish you all the best.